Headlines on Breakingviews this morning. Germany gives the world a lesson in free lunch economics. And Spanish taxpayers are the main losers from the Bankia bailout. With me is Peter Larsen. Free lunch economics. I guess when we're talking, of course, about this 0.5% growth in German GDP. There's good and bad to this.
There is, yeah. I mean, it's for Germany. Obviously, it's good news. They continue to defy the gloom of the eurozone. The economy continues to grow, and there are two aspects to this. One is Germany is obviously a beneficiary of the fact that the rest of the eurozone is locked into what appears to be an uncompetitive exchange rate with Germany, allowing Germany to export to the rest of the eurozone. But that's 40% of the exports. The other 60% of the exports are going outside Germany, and once again, and Germany is benefiting there. Partly from labour reforms, partly from its manufacturing skills and the structural reforms it's made in its economy, but also probably a bit from the fact that the euro is weaker as far as Germany is concerned than it really ought to be as an exchange rate for Germany. But the important part here, trade surpluses, though, bring credit losses and political spats, especially right now in the eurozone, because this, of course, fuels that whole austerity versus growth debate. Well, this is the problem, right? I mean, there is no such thing as a free lunch in economics, as we know, and and clearly this is, the payback is that, other countries have borrowed the money from Germany, frankly, indirectly, to pay for this stuff, and they may not pay it back, and that's the source of German tension, and it also makes it hard to resolve the eurozone crisis. The problem, of course, is that in order to resolve it, Germany needs to become a bit less like Germany, a bit more like some of these other countries. Some of these other countries need to become a bit more like Germany. That's very difficult.
What do you think, just very quickly on the back of this, what do you think the Merkel-Hollande meeting is going to be like?
Well, that's something we're going to look at later today. It's clearly a big opportunity for Hollande to try and sort of shift the terms of the discussion. But
will Merkel bite?
Well, my hunch is that people have always talked about this sort of Franco-German axis as if they're equal partners, but it's been increasingly clear, even under Sarkozy, that Germany really holds all the cards, and I suspect that will remain the case.
Okay, the other story is Spain, a focus on Spain and the Bankia bailout. I mean, we've heard this story before. The taxpayers, the retail shareholders lose out.
Yeah, I mean, it's unpicking. We tried to sort of unpick the winners and the losers, and it's quite tricky. Partly because you have shareholders, and you have creditors, and then you have taxpayers. But shareholders and creditors include both institutions, but also retail investors, and 60% of the shares that were sold in the IPO last year were bought by retail investors, many of whom will have been Bankia's own customers who will have gone into the branch and someone has said,
they are all taking a big
you could buy some of these shares. And so they're getting whacked there. Yeah. But on the other hand, the creditors, which includes some retail investors, junior bondholders, preference shareholders, convertible shareholders, not to mention the senior creditors, they're all being bailed out. So the creditors are the big winners, as is inevitably the case in all these bailouts. The other big winners in Spain are the big banks, because there was some worry that one or two of the big banks might be asked to rescue Bankia, so they're off the hook, and the system they benefit from a stabler system. And the people who really had no choice in the whole matter were the taxpayers, who are on the hook again.
Surprise, surprise.
Yep.
Don't want to sound cynical or anything like that.
But it just shows you, I mean, the thrust of reform, what are we on? We're 4 or 5 years on from the beginning of the crisis. The entire thrust of financial reform has been, let's try and get creditors on the hook for bank failures, and we're nowhere nearer to that.
Okay, Peter, many thanks. Peter Larsen. That's it for now. For more agenda-setting insight, watch our US Breakingviews show every day, 12:30 Eastern, 17:30 BST. I'm Axel Threlfall. This is Reuters.